I'll call this meeting of the City of Waverly's Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Second item here is roll call. Paige, would you help us with that?
David Larson.
Present.
John Meyer.
Here.
Pete Fuller.
Here.
Stephanie Garner.
Here.
David Huser.
Here.
Kate Payne.
Here.
Kathy Olson.
Here.
All right, we definitely have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and move forward with the meeting. Item C on our agenda is approval for tonight's agenda. Would ask for a motion.
Second.
All right, I have a motion that's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, that passes. All right, I'll just say a couple things here. So we're gonna have a couple items here that have a public hearing portion. So we'll open those separately for each item. So I would ask if you have anything to say on item D, we'll, after I open the public hearing, come to the podium, state your name, address, address the commission as a whole. I'd like to limit everybody to 5 minutes tonight, and if that works out, you can certainly come back if we have time. But I want to kind of get that out there, and we'll see how it goes. So with that, item D, I'm going to decide. I think I'm going to have Paige read the agenda memo first, just to get us all on the same page on this, and then I'll open the public hearings. Paige, if you'd help us with that.
Yeah, so this is the rezoning of the former Irving School site from R2 to R3. We had our council update, commission update to council on August 25th. At that meeting, the council had a discussion on the former Irving School site, and they expressed interest in getting the property rezoned to an R3 for future development.
Okay.
Which would be consisted of 2 to 4 family horizontally attached units.
All right, thank you. So with that, I'll open the public hearing for item D, the rezoning of parcel ID 0903283003. Okay. All right. Seeing no one approach the podium, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and open it for discussion for the commission.
Well, that was the night of the planning and zoning update, so I and the chair were there at that meeting. There was a conceptual proposal that was done by you and I, and it really, I think it was a neat proposal. And it put 13 units on that site, and I think that's an excellent use of it. It's infrastructure's there, it's on very close to collector arterial streets, and it just, I think it would make a good use of it. It was a really neat site. I wish we could find somebody that'd be willing to build it. So I guess, well, from that, I get something out, so we could discuss a motion. I would move that we recommend approval of that rezoning to the city council. So we can discuss approval.
Yeah, just watching that viewing of that particular council meeting is open to everybody to see, but it was really an interesting presentation. But I just want to emphasize one thing you said, it is conceptual.
Right.
But the kinds of things that were drawn up in that concept, I think responded to a number of some of the concerns that were raised earlier a few years ago, and this was brought up. It's kind of a, it's owner-operated or owner-occupied. In concept, it is a mixture of differing housing types, and I thought it was a pretty effective concept. But you're right. The next step would be, what would a developer want to do with that?
Well, my feeling is that...
Point of order, do we have a second yet?
We do not have a second.
I'll second the motion.
All right, so we have a motion that's been moved and seconded.
My feeling is that I'm not for this. I think we wait till somebody comes to the city that is interested in it. I don't like the city being involved with even getting conceptual or anything, because who knows who's gonna be out there. So what's the use of changing the zoning until there's somebody that is interested in developing it? And I think it just should sit there until somebody, we looked at this thing 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I don't remember when it was, but I'm not for this, and I think the city shouldn't even be messing around with it. There's other things they should be doing instead of worrying about this. This is, they can make it known that it's for sale, but I'm not for changing it at this time.
I think if the zoning were changed to the R3, does open up some options that a developer might look at. It might change how a developer would look at what might be happening there. What I don't really know is, and I don't know, maybe Connie could respond to this, but if a developer were to step forward with a plan, does that, where does that stand in terms of coming before the commission, for example, after the concept has been laid out?
Yes, I'm Connie Tolan, Planning and Development Specialist for the City of Waverly. First, I'll say that the city owns the land, and it is customary for the owner of the land to apply for rezoning in anticipation of selling it to a developer. So I think that's not uncommon. To your point, once we know what it will be zoned, then we will be inviting individual developers in to have conversations with planning and development staff to assess their interest in putting together a proposal for the property. The city council has indicated that they would want to enter into a development agreement with the developer versus just putting it up for sale and then losing control and influence over what is built there and how it is built and how it blends with the surrounding community, all of those things. So yes, that would be the next step in the process. Once we know what the zoning is, then we would have conversations with developers and see if we can get something brought forward for council consideration.
That doesn't mean a developer can't come in and ask for the change to an R3 if that's what they want to do, And that's why I don't think you should be doing that. I mean, I don't think you should be involved. I know you do own it, but I don't think until a developer comes. What if there's some developer that wants to put two, I guess they could put two houses on it, but still, let's wait till we see if somebody is interested in buying it. That's all I'm saying, is I think there's other things that we should be doing besides this, so.
Any other questions?
That's just my feeling.
Thanks.
Well, I do disagree with that, because our comprehensive plan says we're supposed to be trying to find some economical housing. And we have some private developers that are moving ahead, of course. This is a piece of property that the city got. I'm not sure it was really voluntary, but we have it, and we have, done it. And I think, a developer could come in, and we want to make sure that they don't bump into this again at the council level. If the ordinance is passed, then the developer knows what his criteria are, and he can move ahead. R3 is, as you said, is medium density multifamily, but it's all two-story and it fits the neighborhood, and so anyway, I'm done.
All right.
Well, I would speak as city council. The city council feels that there is a need for affordable housing in Waverly. And while you could easily put two, $500,000 houses on this property, we think that the community would be best served by more affordable housing. And that would be these sort of townhomes, and that would require the rezoning to R3. So the city council sees this as a need for more affordable housing.
I would hope that whenever, or if or whenever this would come before the council, that there are some, I don't know if there are requirements or what you would call it, but the concept, for example, of owner-occupied, I think is a pretty important feature of that.
I would agree.
And I would hope the city council wouldn't overlook that. I think that there are some things that have to do with, if you look at just some principles, what they were looking at, they all have garages. There's a central road that would keep a lot of traffic off the main streets and so on. But I would hope that even if whatever a developer comes forward with, I would hope that there are some principles behind the concept that would be sustained.
I'm sorry.
How would those kinds of design principles be applied here? I mean, I don't know that they're,
Put it in the real estate contract.
I mean, what was interesting to me was from a design point of view, I think that formally the boxes of the houses have some sort of relationship to the size of the houses in the neighborhood, for the most part. The sort of single low-level ones don't seem quite appropriate there. It seems like a two-story unit makes more sense to me, just from a formal point of view. But I do like the idea of, and I think that it's probably a better marketing tool for the city to say, it's R3, we've made a commitment to this is the kind of housing that we think we need, and here's a place to do it. It's convenient to services, the grocery stores in walking distance. There are a lot of positive things about developing this site in that way, and I guess I think that it makes some sense to market it that way, and that it's helpful. But I do think that there should be some design guidelines that would support its relationship to the contiguous neighborhood.
Could that be accomplished with a deed restriction?
With a what?
Deed restriction?
I don't know.
I think it's part of the development agreement that we would arrange with any developer.
What's to stop somebody from coming in and asking to rezone it from R3? If you sell it to the developer and they want to rezone it to something else. But once
To
they
what,
own it-
R4, you mean?
At R4, excuse me. Once they own it.
R2, they can still
Well,
design housing.
Yeah,
and
again,
so
it would be a
forth.
development agreement. We'd have some kind of agreement in place before we got a developer in there and agreed to sell to them.
I would simply ask, was there any feedback from the public on this one?
No public comments were received.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any more discussion on our motion that we have out? If not, I would ask that we take a vote. All in favor of advancing this?
Call we might have.
You can request a roll call vote.
Okay, so we're gonna request a roll call vote. Paige, can you assist?
Okay, I'll just go down this line. David Huser,
No,
John Meyer,
Yes.
Kate Payne,
Yes.
Stephanie Garner,
Yes.
Pete Fuller,
Yes.
Kathy Olson,
Yes.
and then Dave Larson.
The chairman does vote in.
That's what I said. I skipped over you, but you'll get last, yeah.
Because of the size, yeah, I am a yes as well.
Okay.
So, the results of that is that motion passes. Thanks for all the discussion.
Refresh them. We can make the final decision.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so now we're moving on to item E in our agenda. So this one's kind of split into two pieces. The first thing we have to do is kind of talk through the fact that we tabled this last meeting. We need to decide as a commission if we want to pull that from the table and discuss it. So I would ask that the commission read item 1, and I would ask for a motion.
I would move to take from the table the item regarding the special provisional use for a building addition and crematorium at 218 2nd Street Southeast, Waverly, Iowa, which was tabled at the September 4, 2025 meeting.
I'll second it if it needs it.
Yes.
All right, a motion that's been moved and seconded. I would ask that we just do a voice vote All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Seeing none opposed, that motion passes. So we'll move on to item 2. Just for refresher, just in general here. Again, Paige, can you walk us through this memo? And then we'll open a public hearing.
Yeah, so Corson Properties applied for the special provisional use for a building addition crematorium at their properties located at 218 2nd Street Southeast. This addition is proposed to be 3 foot from the north property line. It also includes that 6-foot privacy fence in the green landscape area. I don't know if you want more information or that.
I think that's a good enough reminder. I appreciate that. I know it's a long agenda memo. All right. So with that, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for item 2, section E of our agenda, which is this crematorium at 218 2nd Street Southeast Waverly. So if you have something to address the commission with, again, please approach the podium, state your name and your address, and we'll allow 5 minutes for everyone so they have a chance to speak. Yeah, no.
I just want to say there's no ill will toward Kaiser
Could we
Corson.
have your name and address,
Name and
please?
address, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Marcia Campbell, 400 First Street Southeast. My husband and I moved into this neighborhood 13 years ago, and it was pretty much older people in the neighborhood. And slowly but surely, younger couples started buying houses, and the neighborhood came to life. And I just don't want anything to change. I don't want it to keep young couples out of the neighborhood, and I don't want to lose anyone. So that's just how I feel. There's a lot of unknowns about a crematorium in a residential neighborhood. I just, I have a lot of questions, which I hope, you folks can answer tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Lou Winfeld. I live at 424 4th Street Southeast. I speak against the placement of the crematorium. No one questions the placement of the funeral home itself. It is family friendly. The Corsons lived there for years. It is the crematoriums that traditionally belong in special areas of town, and it is for many reasons. First, our southeast residential area begins with the historic lofts, and that was a huge community investment and accomplishment to build this development. The crematorium will interrupt the residential flow of our community that begins with all those people. It will isolate them. Second, most of our area residents are uncomfortable with the crematorium, which will be high visibility, being a 1st Street focal point that interrupts the flow of residential living. Flow is hugely important. Third, young families will be less attracted to live in our area of town if this happens. This is part of life, but towns zone for a reason. Businesses and industry are restricted to areas for the same reason. It allows residential areas to be compact and flow naturally. This parking lot would make a wonderful play park area for children. That would be a natural fit for the neighborhood, and that would be family friendly. Lastly, it will needlessly lower home valuation for many families, and thereby lower the city's tax base. The neighborhood, from everything I hear, has spoken on this issue. This crematorium belongs in a non-residential area. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Barth Steer, and I live at 322 1st Street Southeast, and I speak in favor of it. I think it's needed. It's going to be needed in the future because the cost of burial is getting so high. My wife died in 2010, my son died in 2017. I had Kaiser Corson handle it. They had to haul them to Waterloo to have them cremated and then bring them back, and that added cost to everything. I'm for it 100%. I think it'll improve that lot because it's nothing but blacktop broken up with weeds growing through it. And I've seen the pictures, they've sent them to me, and I'm 100% for it. So there you go.
Thank you.
Good evening. Tom Kroll, Cremation Systems, South Holland, Illinois. We are the manufacturer of the crematory equipment, and I am here to answer the questions. I was fortunate enough to look at the previous video and understood what came up. I've done a lot of these type events, and I am a construction engineer by education, Bachelor of Science degree, Syracuse University, and the College of Environmental Science and Forestry. I've also been teaching the certified operator class, which is mandatory in many states. And in those classes, we address a lot of some of the questions that came up earlier about what if this, what if that. The piece of equipment through the years has been refined dramatically, such that it is specific to the case, the person. We've tried to take the guesswork out for crematory operators to have a safe cremation every time they operate the equipment. It's so specific to the sex of the case, the mass, the weight of the case, the type of container, so that by doing this, the piece of equipment absolutely understands how it should come about. There always is a lot of anxiety about the environment and its impact on neighborhoods. I have been impressed with the Kaiser Corson group and how they've gone about all those blue lines that are up there about addressing what the concerns to the neighborhood actually are. And I hope we get to go through and show this group the presentation that's there, and I'm assuming everyone has seen it. So I think that's probably about my 5 minutes, but I can jump back up if people have specific questions.
You're at 2.5, but you could, you're doing great.
You can bank it for later.
Yeah, that's fair.
Would you like me to stay or go or
Oh,
sit?
I'd like to let everybody have a chance, so.
Sure.
We'll see if anyone else would like to speak.
My name is Natalie Reese. I'm speaking in my capacity tonight as the attorney for Kaiser Corson Funeral Homes, Inc. and Corson Properties, LC, and the address for both of those entities is 218 2nd Street, Southeast here in Waverly. At the last public hearing held by the Planning and Zoning Commission, there were multiple legitimate concerns raised by local residents with regard to the special provisional use application that you're considering tonight. In particular, there were concerns about the potential health hazards from emissions, the possibility of the visibility of dark smoke, the curb appeal of the proposed construction, and the effect on the value of the surrounding properties. After that hearing, it was clear that we needed to share with you and with local residents reliable, accurate facts relating to the concerns raised. There's been data submitted that Tom can expound more on. It's concrete data that pertains to the emission of the particulate matter, or rather the lack thereof, from the unit that my client is hoping to purchase. Tom has information on there talking about the safeguards in place to prevent dark smoke, and there's data demonstrating that the value of nearby residential properties in other communities with crematoriums has not decreased. You'll also hear from Ryan Tucker tonight, who will share with you renderings of the proposed construction and offer an explanation for why installation of this unit at another location is just not feasible. I'm here tonight on behalf of my client to share with you the value that this installation will provide to the citizens of Waverly. Section 100.1.02 of Waverly City Code provides that the purpose of the city's zoning ordinances is to, quote, promote the public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, and general welfare, end quote, of Waverly residents. The data provided assures that the installation of the crematory would not compromise the public health or safety of the neighboring residents, and I propose to you that this installation would promote the convenience and general welfare of Waverly residents. My client has 4 locations, and Waverly is its main one. It's the only funeral home here in town. Last year, just over 75% of Kaiser Corson's cases were handled here in Waverly. And as of the end of last week, almost 80% have been handled here in Waverly. 7 years ago, only 26% of my client's cases involved cremation. Last year, 46% involved cremation. And so far this year, 51% of the cases handled here in Waverly have involved cremation. Based on national trends, it is expected that over 60% of cases will involve cremation by the year 2030. I share these statistics with you not to overwhelm you with information, but instead to impress upon you the ways in which the Waverly community would be better served by Kaiser Corson with this installation. Since my client outsources its cremations, the installation would save expenses in staff time and vehicle maintenance, resulting in cost efficiencies for the families that it serves. It also provides an added layer of assurance that every decedent is treated with dignity, as there would be continual continuity of care. If there were any serious health hazards posed to the neighborhood by this installation, Kaiser Corson simply would not have pursued it. We have confidence in the guidelines set by the state of Iowa that govern the emissions and in the safeguards that are built into the unit. My client has just as much of an interest in the safety and vitality of the neighborhood as the local residents. They welcome the families and loved ones of decedents through their doors and have absolutely no intention of worsening the surrounding community. My client's ultimate goal is to better serve the residents of Waverly. And for these reasons, the approval of this special provisional use application would promote the convenience and general welfare of the residents of Waverly, thereby furthering the purpose of the city's zoning ordinances. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Ryan Tucker, co-owner and one of the funeral directors at Kaiser Corson Funeral Home, 218 2nd Street Southeast here in Waverly. We've used the same third-party crematory in Waterloo that's been established, and we've used them for decades. Having this addition at this location will provide a continuity of care for the families we serve who choose the cremation process. The decedent will never leave our care. Our staff is in this building nearly every day of the year, all hours of the night and day, weekends, holidays, in this building. We, as part of this plan, will utilize parts of the current funeral home for storage related to the crematory unit and the cremation process. Building this off-site is not an option for us operationally, from a functionality standpoint, for staffing reasons, and for costs. In addition to the previously submitted architectural drawings, we've submitted existing and proposed renderings for the addition. Paige, I wonder if we could pull those. Oh, I'm sorry. Kate can pull those up. We're going to show, yep, that one's fine. I do have a pointer just to make this a little bit easier. So you can see on, if you wouldn't mind just going back up to the existing. There we go. So existing now, this is the way it looks from the south. You can see the asphalt that's in disrepair. We do have the current two-stall garage in its place, and that will remain there. If we can go to the proposed. Thank you. Here you can see, again from the south, the garage will actually have this garage here. The garage that's in its place right now, thank you, will have a facelift, new garage doors, new roof. You can see the approach has been replaced in more of a cement fashion. The green area around the space, the fence to the north, you'll see it again in a couple pictures. That'll extend the full length of the north property line up to the new addition. And then kind of right where that cursor is, that's the new proposed addition there. You can see a little landscaping and the proposed, talked about the stack, where the heat's released is right there, right in the center. We can go to the next one. You keep going.
Oh, sorry.
I think it's a duplicate. Here we have the existing, it's a little bit closer rendering from the south, looking from the southwest. You can again see the asphalt in disrepair. That will be turned, as you'll see here in a second. There you go, to more of that green space. And then the crematory itself there, the landscaping and the fence running again on the north property line. Okay. You can keep going. There's one more there, I think. Thank you. So this is from the northeast, looking at currently, I'll come back to this in a second. We can go to the new one. This shows the current garage will be attached to the proposed crematory. In that space there, the previous photo, there's more of a lean-to. You can see right above that, right there. We're going to attach that more seamlessly to the proposed building for a couple of reasons. Number one, aesthetically, it's much better. Number two, that will become a corridor between the crematory addition, through those garage spaces, and into the funeral home proper. Our current operation, if you could float back up again, sorry. Oh, not that far.
Oh,
Just one more.
Sorry.
There you go. Right where those blue vans are. Our normal operation, when we do take a loved one into our care and come back to the funeral home, we'd switch those vehicles around. We back up to that space where that garage door is with the 4 windows. And we do, right now, that garage space has vehicles in it. So we will unload the deceased individual outside and then into the garage space, which can be somewhat of a challenge if we have a visitation going on, which is near this area here, and just generally for the neighborhood and the Waverly population. That operation will change. If we go to the next slide, that one right there. The new garage door, we're going to be able to pull all the way into that space, and to the right, that one there, pull all the way into that space, close the garage door behind us, and then we can make the transfer of the decedent into our care, traveling, either staying in the crematory area or traveling through that corridor to the funeral home. Any questions on the building itself or any of the design work?
So I suppose, well, I have one question. In the existing photos, I'm seeing a lot of dumpsters. Where are they going?
Well, we own one dumpster.
Right.
And it will, to my knowledge, stay in that spot. The dumpsters on the other side, to the right, those all belong to the loft apartments. And I don't know where they would put those. I'm not sure. Any questions there? Okay. Moving on, there's been a precedent set in Iowa for crematories operating within city limits near both residential and commercial districts. We have street view and overhead views of Independence, Iowa City, Mason City, and New Hampton funeral home and crematories. We've highlighted these towns because they're relatively close to Waverly, have a long history of operating their funeral home and crematory in an area similar to ours, and are a mix of call volumes, some much more, some equal, and some less. We offer these examples. Yeah, we'll stay right there for a moment. To show both similarities and differences with our project. It's very important to note, each of these crematory stacks that we'll point out are at a distance either equal to or closer to a residence than our closest residential neighbor. I have exact measurements if needed, but for the sake of brevity, I will not include those numbers. This first photo is Independence, and sorry if my pointer was working. Right in the middle, you'll see the funeral home right there. To the west, you'll see residential, southwest residential, to the southeast residential, and then I failed to label immediately to the east of that funeral home is a private residence. So that's the overhead view. The extend, yep, keep going, there we go. This is kind of the backside view of this Independence Funeral Home. And I'll simply point out here the extended crematory stack. I'd say conservatively, it's probably twice the height of what our proposed addition will be. Next one. This is an overhead of Iowa City Funeral Home. This is a very busy funeral home. Right there is the funeral home. The stack is just to the right and just to the, sorry, you can go back up. Anyway, right there is the funeral home, right there is the crematory. For being such a large volume firm, this is a very compact space when we talk about where the crematory is in relation to the public space, and we'll see that in a moment. The residence is very close here, just to the east of the funeral home, and we can scroll down. This is from their parking lot. You can see the canopy on the left side, the large canopy. That's the main entrance to this funeral home. It's a beautiful space. The stack I've labeled just to the left of that. It looks kind of like it's a lighter off color is the stack kind of by the garage door. That crematory unit is right in the heart of their funeral home. We'll get to another example of that in a moment. But I think it just shows how close it can operate seamlessly with the operation. And again, you see residences there just to the east. Next one, I believe, is Mason City. Mason City is an interesting situation. They have two funeral homes, well, they have three funeral homes all on the same street. Two of these have crematories in their building. One all the way to the north, I believe it's the blue dot, and one all the way to the south, might have to go down just a touch, is that red dot. You can see towards the red dot, we call the South Funeral Home in Mason City. It's immediately next to a bed and breakfast. The museum is right there. To the east is a public library. And to the north funeral home, if you scroll up just a little, there are residences. I think it's a duplex or some sort of multi-family home, apartments just to the east. So you can scroll down. This is the north funeral home. We talked just about the apartments immediately to the east. And the stack on this one is from the red dot. It's just a little bit further down. Yeah, you can see, I've labeled this one because it is very hard to see with this little more, I don't know if you call it modern architecture, but it blends right in there. And the apartment's just to the east there. Finally, in Mason City, if we scroll down one more, this shows, I'm most familiar with this out of all of our examples. 6 days after I graduated high school in 2002, I moved into this funeral home apartment and worked there for about 3.5 years as a student. You can see the crematory stack, I think. It's 2, maybe 3 times the height of our projected. The interesting thing about this funeral home is, you see those windows in the front? That's office space. And then as you move back towards the stack is actually the funeral chapel right in that area. I know for a fact when I was there, we would have the crematory operating at the same time that we were having either funeral or visitation time. I'll point to one more thing in this photo. There's a structure on the other side. That's the funeral home. That's the old funeral home part, just to the left, right there. That's the bed and breakfast, which is, some might say, an interesting spot. It's probably 60 feet from the crematory stack, and no known issues with any guests there. New Hampton should be the last one, and I'm just about done, thank you. So New Hampton is, Main Street runs kind of the bottom of the screen. Yep. And the funeral home is the red dot, and the crematory operates in a separate building just above there. You can see labeled crematory. And then again, there's a residence right across the street from this particular crematory. And then, of course, Main Street, New Hampton is right there. The funeral home sits right on Main Street. And this is from the back side, so this is facing south. Again, the crematory and then I would say an unassuming building to the right, and then the residence across the street. As you can see, at the most basic level, our ask is congruent with what's been done in other nearby communities. This project allows us to continue to serve the community of Waverly the right way well into the future. Any locations on, or any questions on those slides? Sorry, I know I took more times. Any questions for me at this time? Thank you.
Thank you.
Vicki Reese, 307 Timberwood, Waverly. I have lived all over the country, and I have chosen to live in Waverly because it's charming. This is just an amazing town to live in. So I have a lot of the same concerns. And yet, at the same time, I work with Crep Abels. I do some funerals there. I'm a pastor for 40 years. And my other job all the time is Lock Funeral Services, which is in Waterloo. That serves 52% of the Cedar Valley for the funerals. And my job with them is called continuous caregiver. I follow up on people after the funerals and after whatever that is, and I talk with people in the lines as they are there. And and they only built this 4 years ago, and have been really serving people, thousands of people, weekly. And I get to talk to a lot of people, and I used to live in Friendship Village. I know lots of people who are very, very persnickety about the quality of the air or whatever, and I can tell you that there has never been an issue as far as smell. That's what I would be concerned about, with smell. And there's never been one little spore of anything. It's clean. I know I would be concerned about the flow. You said about the flow, would there be traffic? Well, there isn't traffic. The flow of traffic is when people are coming for visitations or for funerals. But as far as the flow of traffic, as far as the crematory goes, you won't even really see a difference of that. So I don't think you have to worry about that. And I had never seen these renditions, but that looks just like something that someone would build to be able to put their camper inside of it, you know? It blends with the neighborhood. I think one of the challenges that I see as a resident is that Crep Abels is right on the brink of the business area and the residential. It's not like it's being plopped into the middle of something. It's on the edge. So I appreciate the discretion of the design. I appreciate the fact that there's going to be a fence. It looks like it's going to look a lot better. And I think anybody driving by wouldn't be able to tell. I think it will take time. If I was a resident, it might take a little time to get used to there and get used to it, but it blends with the neighborhood, and I appreciate that. And I will just like to, I'm here to just let people know, don't be afraid of it will be smelly or disruptive, okay? As I know I've lived here because it's charming, and I don't see that interrupting, changing the flow of the feel of the architecture in that neighborhood. So thank you for listening.
Question, where is Locke's crematory?
Theirs is on Kimball, which is not in a residential area. But you have hundreds of thousands of people have been there. And go in the parking lot. It's one level. There's a huge parking lot. There's gathering areas. It would definitely be, if there was a problem, I would have heard about it. I would have heard about it from a few directions. That's why I mentioned that I lived in Friendship Village, because I'm still friends with all of them. I lived because my late husband had medical issues. So I would definitely say that. That would be the difference, if that's not in a non-residential area. But this looks like it could be in a residential area. Our design would not fit into that. Thank you for asking, Stephanie. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Emily Gonski at 112 2nd Avenue Southeast. You probably remember me. I didn't prepare anything this evening. I thought I'd just kind of see how everything went. To be honest, if I came up at all tonight, I was just going to say, I think we've presented a really credible, sound case for why this is not a great idea for the middle of Waverly. We love Kaiser Corson. I think you guys do amazing work. I'm really glad that you're our neighbor. I have major concerns about the crematorium. If anything tonight, I believe that the people that you brought in tonight actually proved my point in a lot of ways. Cremations have gone up significantly. You guys said 60% in the upcoming year. And while I think it would be amazing to have a crematorium closer to Waverly and better for you guys financially as a business endeavor, it's clearly going to make more emissions happen. And even by the facility that makes the crematorium, the cremation services, or excuse me, what is that called? The actual system that does the cremations. I mean, they admit there are emissions. There just are. There's no way around it. There's heat and things that come out of that smokestack. That's what it's there for. Yes, there's a filter, but there just are emissions. Things malfunction. There's no way to guarantee or even measure all of the emissions that are going to be coming out. And with more cremations happening, more emissions are going to be happening. Nobody here is concerned about the aesthetic. It does look like a garage. Honestly, at every single crematorium we looked at the same setup every single time. Nobody's worried about the way it looks. But nothing they've presented actually shows that it's going to not emit more chemicals and its odor. I've actually spoken to so many people in Waverly, and I've only had 2 people in favor of it that I've spoken to. I've spoken to so many people about the odor. One woman got COPD after living across the street from one. I think that there is extremely credible evidence against this. So, thank you.
Hi, Tom Kroll, Cremation Systems. I'd like to address the question about emissions. The state of Iowa is extremely clear, and we will have some other information that's coming down through here. This is a great document that got posted and everyone can read. The state of Iowa says that you can have 1/10 of a grain, dry standard cubic foot of particulate matter, 1/10. We're not even close to that in emissions. Most states have you look at a wide array. Iowa's a little different in that it only is looking at particulate. So I understand what you're talking about. However, if in most states, a lot of states not even addressed, Minnesota used to have an air permit system. They disbanded it because the federal government considers it a small source, which it is. I think when you look at it environmentally, and we actually do talk about a lot of different items that are all listed there, and as been stated earlier, Kaiser Corson is a great neighbor. They're not trying to damage or the neighborhood. But again, in total compliance with Iowa state law. If you really are interested in improving the environment, then it should be a legislative item with the state of Iowa.
Who does monitor the emissions? And you said it's regulated, but who checks it? And how
Well-
often? Yeah, and what is the actual emission level? You said it's regulated, and what is it?
No.
Yeah.
Excuse me, a 10.
Hold on. I want to just bring the discussion back. So for this sort of venue, we need to address the commission with questions. So I want to just kind of disband the.
Sure.
So address the commission to answer a question. If she has another question, she can reapproach the podium, ask the
Got it.
commission. So we'll just lay that out formally here.
And the commission can direct whether he wants me to try to answer that.
Yeah.
Like you want us to come up to say them?
Yeah, so if you do have a question to ask, please ask the commission. And again, it's.
Just leave it right there.
This is not a debate.
Okay.
Correct.
I don't have to re-say my name and address, do I?
No, you're okay.
Okay, great. I am curious what the actual emission level is and who actually regulates it. From my research, there is no like actual management of it. There can be recommendations, but no one actually regulates it. There was one other thing I wanted to say that I forgot to say. I mean, we all know Kaiser Corson's a great neighbor, has nothing to do with whether or not the emissions are coming out. I mean, that just has nothing to do with it. Additionally, I do believe that they want to give the best service possible, but we're definitely painting this as this is all about the families. However, I mean, I'm a business owner, so is my husband. We wouldn't do things that aren't also financially profitable. And so, I mean, to say that they would do this with no financial gain whatsoever is just ludicrous. Like, they wouldn't. This is going to increase their profits significantly, and surrounding funeral homes are just inevitably, they're going to ask to be using their cremation services. It's going to be a good profitable gain. I don't believe that this is just solely focused on, you know, we're going to make sure that no emissions are coming out, because it's going to be profitable. It just is. So.
The item on the screen here, reasons.
We really need you to talk in the microphone so that the recording keeps track of that.
Just slide that. So here is
Thank you, Brian.
a report, third party, talking about smoke. And if you go to the right-hand side, this is called Method 9. This is a federal standard that we went in addition to. And you see, at the end there, zero smoke. There are, if you keep scrolling, I'll try to talk loud. This is also a very interesting item. Here, comparing what a cremation chamber at 1600 Fahrenheit, which is the little box, compared to your fireplace at home. So if we're really interested in particulate matter, you should be a little more concerned with your fireplace. Could you go to the next one, please? And again, when we were talking about emissions, and yes, we have to test a wide variety. Iowa Department of Natural Resources only wants particulate. We've already talked about the numbers, but we do test a variety. Getting back to how often do you have to test? A state like Pennsylvania wants to test on every 5 years. Iowa does not require that. Could you go a little, I think that is that the last one? I didn't look at it.
Yeah, it's the furthest.
Any other questions from this group?
None at this time, it looks like.
Thank you.
Could you pull back to that study he just had up with the zero emissions? Up one more. So if you look at that one, not only is it from 10 years ago, but it is, again, just visible emissions. We are not looking at the actual particulate matter. And if you go down to the one about the fireplace, for example, I mean, they're burning wood. I don't have a fireplace. I would actually also personally have an issue with a fireplace because I'm really concerned about emissions. But again, burning wood in a fireplace is just not comparable to burning a person with all of the stuff inside of the casket that goes with them, amalgam fillings, all of it. It's just not a comparable thing. And if you look at the emissions, what is the standard? It's like 0.004 particulate matter is what's acceptable as a wide range of chemical emissions across the board. But if you look more into that, it's not even measurable. They don't know if that layers on top of each other. It depends on if you're inhaling it or if you're eating it. I mean, there's just no way to tell the toxicity level of these kinds of emissions. There just isn't, so.
Could you keep sliding, going up, please? Tom Cole again. That was was another TRC. I thought we had submitted the full array of emissions.
Look for the compliance
There.
test for Phoenix.
It's in,
State code versus proposed?
in that Phoenix compliance study.
Yeah, the emissions compliance test Phoenix.
There it is. So if we keep going, excellent, oh, there we go. This is the one that I wanted to show. Iowa emission standards.
Talking to Mike.
Yeah, talking
Sorry.
about
Iowa emission standards, 1/10 of a grain, dry standard cubic foot, and then you can see our result there, minuscule. So total compliance with what Iowa says is for human cremation. Thank you.
There was some, just a moment ago, some speculation about our operation with the proposed crematory. We have no plans at this time and into the future to have other funeral homes contract with us. In addition, the profitability, I don't think, number one, is a zoning issue. And number two, we will not be opening up our books to share our profitability, nor the costs of this project.
Hello.
My name's April Perry. I live at 317 First Street Southeast with my 4 children. And Waverly is a charming town. It's why we moved here. I loved everything about it. And I love the historical district. It's a great area. And since the time I moved here, those 8 years, more young families. There was no kids for my kids to play with. There's lots of young families next door, across the street. It's great. We love in the summertime, spring, fall, spending time outside. And the idea of having that there and the facts that there are emissions makes me uncomfortable for my children and for all the kids in the neighborhood. For the kids who live in that huge building that look down, their parents are going to talk about what's going on over there. They're going to know. I mean, would you want to look at a smokestack as a child and know that bodies are being burnt there? Not to sound, like that's not the main reason at all. But it's obviously a thought in everybody's head. I mean, it's there. I think that the park, that's how, when somebody said that, I was like, oh, that would be amazing with all of these new kids in this neighborhood. That would be awesome. I'd love that. We don't really have park. That baseball park that's over there is dilapidated, nothing. There's a couple baseball diamonds. So the idea of a park there, oh man, that sounds great. My kids love that. All the kids in the neighborhood could spend time there. I hate to say it, but if you are financially going to benefit from something, I mean, look at the cigarette smoking. For 50 years, it was nothing's wrong with it, nothing's wrong with it. How do I know nothing's wrong with it, nothing's wrong with it, that nothing's really wrong with it? It doesn't feel right. And so, yeah, I mean, doctors smoked in hospitals, and we know the repercussions and how dangerous and what it causes now. And those are emissions that people are directly breathing in. So how do we really determine that this is safe for our kids that are in the neighborhood? Would you all feel safe with your grandkids or your kids being right next door in the apartment building with that there? I just hope that that's, a consideration, because we are not, we are residents there. We're citizens here too. I don't want to feel bulldozed by them because they have a lawyer. They have, somebody who benefits because it's the company that makes crematoriums by telling their side of the science. I mean, how I feel on it, and I obviously absolutely oppose it. I'm saddened that the park wasn't an idea long ago, or that something like that with the apartment building right there. Those kids would really enjoy that there. When she said that, I just loved that. But I guess that's really all I have to say, but that's how I feel, and I think a lot of my neighbors feel the same way, and they love their neighborhood. Our neighborhood's quiet, it's peaceful. Not saying that Kaiser Corson isn't a good neighbor, but I don't see why somewhere outside of, away from residents, away from kids, there can't be a place and where this can't work for them still. They're still gonna financially benefit if it's somewhere out in the country, a little ways out where, there's lots of area to build still. That could be a great place for a park. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Danae Muller. I am a co-owner of Kaiser Corson Funeral Homes, and I do live at 218 2nd Street Southeast, which is the property that we are speaking of. I live in the apartment upstairs. I love my career as a funeral director. I love serving the community that I work in. I care about our people, and I care about my own health as well. When we talk about the emissions and the state mandates, they must be at 0.1 or below to be acceptable. I trust the governing regulations. It is regulated by the Department of Natural Resources. I have already been working with them, proactively working on their permit and what all that entails. And I have all the faith in the world that those people, those professionals that set those standards are well educated and have set those standards where they are and that they are indeed safe. And that level is 0.1, and the emissions that are being tested that are coming from the unit that we are looking to buy is 0.0098, well below what the state mandates to be the maximum safe level. I live there, I am very confident, and I want to protect myself, but I want to protect my neighbors and our loved ones as well. Talking about the park, instead of a crematorium in that lot, that would be fine, but I don't believe it is zoned for that. We do own that property, and it's not zoned to be a park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gary Sadie, 91 2nd Avenue Southeast. My concern is, I know we've got all the figures that show these emissions are at a minimal amount, which that's to be applauded. I'm sure you make a great unit. What happens, I've never heard, what happens after 3 months, 6 months, 10 years? You've got children running around, their lungs are filling up with the minimal amount. Do these things add up? A minimal to a minimal to a minimal? Is there any studies? I have not seen anything. What's going to happen in a number of years? Whether it be the soil, our gardens, everything. This stuff goes up. It doesn't go up into outer space. It comes down. It may be a minimal amount, but it's going to add up. And somehow, Emily's got all these little kids running around year after year after year. They've already said that the cremations are going to be going up more than 60%, perhaps. I don't know if that includes pet cremations also. That's another thing to consider. These things, it's just not right. It just doesn't sound like it belongs in the community. I have no idea what these other people feel like in New Hampton and some of the other places. It doesn't matter to us. That's irrelevant. The people here are the ones I'm concerned about. They don't want it. New Hampton, they might love it. They might like the dust. They might like the smell. I have no idea. It's irrelevant to our community. Our community right here and several others, you've got a lot of names that we got, just don't think it's appropriate for its location. And I think there's a number of business owners also that are concerned. When you've got people coming downtown here and they want to enjoy the restaurants and whatever, and they're gonna smell maybe a little bit or a little bit of particulate comes down, it's not right. You could go 10 minutes either way outside of town, everybody be happy. So, anyway, that's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
Just to avoid any question, the pet cremation, it's illegal to cremate a pet in a human retort in the state of Iowa. I'm not sure about other states. So that would not happen at this location. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick Nelson. I live at 414 First Street Southeast here in Waverly. I'm not going to beat a dead horse with the concerns about odors, smells, pollutants, whatever. My question is strictly financial, what is the financial, obviously there's going to be a huge financial incentive for them. It's going to decrease costs. So they're not transporting to Waterloo to do all these things, continuity of care. I understand that. My question would be, what is the current price of just a basic cremation? And is there going to be a proposed lower price because their costs are going to be lower? It's going to be more efficient to do it in-house. Maybe that was answered at some point, I don't know. But as somebody who, I have 4 or 5 grandparents that are nearing their mid to late 80s, approaching that time where these are real serious things that I need to start thinking about. My parents are getting up there in age. Likely living here in town, Kaiser Corson is who we're going to use. Is that going to actually help me in the long run? Is that going to, say a cremation is a few thousand, is it going to bring it down by a couple $100 and save me that in the future? I'd just be curious as to see what the numbers are and if they're proposing eating all the saved money as now more profits, or is that going to go back to the consumer and help the community more? Are we going to be spending less on cremations? So if that is a question that could be answered, that's my biggest one for now.
I don't think that's a land use question.
No. Yeah. I agree with John. I appreciate your comments here, and just in general, I think I would just take a moment that, our role in this is land use. There's a lot of input from the public, which we certainly all appreciate, but there are some topics that aren't within the bounds of our decision-making, for sure. So I want everybody's comments to be heard, so they're part of the public record. We certainly can't answer every question that's asked of us, or the applicant certainly doesn't have to answer every question either, so it's...
I guess the point of the question was more for like the benefit of the community. If we're going to have a committee approve that this be put in, is it going to benefit the community in a real tangible way?
I just have a question for Kaiser, actually, but I knew I had to come to the podium, so. So maybe I misunderstood the part about the pet cremation, but on September 16th, they actually posted about pet cremation. They have a photo, it says there's little to no difference between cremation for humans and for pets. Both use the same type of equipment and similar process, and some crematoriums, in fact, work with both pets and humans. Give us a call at such and such number if you have any questions about what our cremation process is. So I was just wondering about that.
A funeral home can own a pet cremation unit, but it has to be separate from the human cremation chamber. To my knowledge, it could potentially even be in the same building if you wanted it to. That's not at all something that we're considering at this time. We will refer people to pet crematories in Waterloo, but that's not something that we're interested at all. So, thank you.
Hi, my name's Andrew Huser. I live at 317 First Street Southeast. I just want to be known that I'm definitely against this, mainly for concern for my own children and neighboring kids. I've got a 2-year-old little boy along with other children as well. Just this has been brought up already, but just what happens over time? What happens when there's a malfunction, or there's some kind of human error? I mean, these guys might be great, but not everybody follows the law all the time. I mean, I just think it's a liability and a risk, and I'm not comfortable with it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Hi, Tom Kroll again. NFPA 86 is a standard, and so to allay people's fear, on an annual basis, it has to be inspected, combustion, control, and refractories. So it's every year.
Thank you.
Hello, Shelley Gaywicki. I live at 401 First Street Southeast. I've been there for over 25 years. Just bought my house, as a matter of fact, within the last few years. I was renting before. But the thought of having, first of all, I love you guys. I really, truly do. You guys are awesome. But the thought of having a crematorium a block from my house is scary to me. We've talked about the emissions and everything else. I don't think the people in the neighborhood are worried about how pretty the funeral home is going to be or anything like that. I think it's more about what's going to happen to us in the future and our children. Also, I do have a question for Kaiser Corson. Is this the only crematorium that they have? And if so, if they have someone from Shell Rock, are they going to bring them to Waverly to cremate? Or are they still going to take them to somewhere else? You know, I mean, is that really saving money in the long run? And it's also just picking up or building the number of cremations we're going to have in our neighborhood. So I'm definitely against it. Like I said, love you guys. Absolutely love you guys. But I mean, this is my home and it affects me. So please, please pay attention to the people that that are going to be living next to it. Please.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no one approach the podium, I'll announce that I'm about to close the public hearing, unless anyone else has something to say for the public record. Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and turn it to our commission for discussion.
Dave, do you want other written comments that came in?
Yeah, that's a good point, Paige.
We won't go through and read them all, as we forwarded all of them to you as they came in. We had that list of questions. There was a petition against the crematorium. There was also a letter of support with several signatures, and then we had 3 individual letters of support.
Thank you, Paige.
I think that'd be something you can ask after the meeting.
Yep, I appreciate the interest though. Okay, commission. I would ask for a motion that we put forth so we can have a discussion on this topic.
I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of the special provisional use for the building addition and crematorium at 218 2nd Street Southeast, Waverly, Iowa, to the Board of Adjustments.
I'll second that.
All right, we now have a motion that's been moved and seconded. Open for discussion.
Well, I'll make a comment. This does comply to the comprehensive plan that we have adopted. It shows that entire city block to be commercial, and this is an extension of a commercial use. It is regulated, it will be inspected, it will be operated per the manufacturer, that is the law in the state of Iowa. I do think the project will improve the appearance of the neighborhood. And I guess the real bottom line is I trust the technology. Reading the compliance tests from these other communities, and also spending several hours on a Sunday afternoon researching and learning a lot about crematoriums, the technology that they operate under. It's pretty tough for them to go haywire. It just really is. And if they do, they shut down. And, you know, as far as the emissions, I guess I too trust the emission standards of the state of Iowa. And cremation facilities have been around for many, many, many years. Unfortunately, many of them weren't as sophisticated as they are now. And I think that's why they've gotten a bad rap. The thing I've heard the most from the comments was, I don't like the thought of a crematorium in my neighborhood. I don't like the thought. Well, I know that's difficult, and I appreciate that, but I hope we can separate reality from the thought, and that's why I would support this.
I'll also add comments if you don't mind. I spent several hours myself speaking with several different companies, manufacturers of crematoriums, and not this one. I knew about this one, so I did not call them. I also did not tell them who I was and what I was doing. I just wanted to know more about crematoriums. They had no idea where I'm at. They had no idea why I was doing this. Every one of them had the same thing that this gentleman here is telling you. There are very sophisticated equipment nowadays. They're all run on PLCs. They've got sensors in them in the lower part of the stack, not the upper part of the stack. If it does get above the set point of the emissions of the particulate, it shuts down. It resets. The operator has to reset the alarm. It's not something that they walk away from and see tomorrow, hope it works. One of these manufacturers had the same type of information. There have been answers to the same questions, that there are no real studies, but there are also no proof that there is a long-term effect on health. And I can go on, everything that he has said has been said by every single manufacturer. I don't see, today's crematoriums, in my opinion, are safer than what a lot of the Google people are telling them. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Thank you, Commissioner Fuller.
I call the question.
Pardon?
I call the question.
I forgot to vote.
Well, I have a few questions.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. First of all, thanks for all the additional information. Since our last meeting, I've been driving around northeastern, eastern Iowa, visiting funeral homes and crematoriums, and found several of them that were operating while I was there. So I have a few questions. Do you have any other units like this that you've sold in this area that are operating?
Absolutely, 15 in the state of Iowa.
Okay, are there any in the eastern part, like maybe in the properties that they provided?
Yes, Mason City.
Okay. Yeah, this was a subject I know nothing about. So in my travels, that was my purpose, to learn. I didn't know what I was going to see, and there were no emissions. There was nothing visible coming out of the units when they were operating, except for heat vapor. Yeah, I did see that. One thing that I didn't expect was sound. And that I talked to a funeral director at one of the sites, and they explained the operation of the unit to me. And there's an air intake that, to balance. Anyhow, where would the air intake, if I look at the proposed sketch here, it looks like there's a vent above a door on the west side of the building.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. So there's actually two things that are operating. So there'll be a 10-inch direct duct into the combustion air blower. And from that, at that point, you're going to have about 65 decibels worth of sound pressure.
That's kind of like a dishwasher. I mean, that's my reference.
No, and you are, as the Brits would say, spot on. So what you do, we have a number of options. And what we'll cover as we look at the layout of the crematory, we can run that duct straight up through the roof, which can be beneficial. You always want to have your combustion air intake, which is the majority of the combustion air, directed away from people that are going to hear it. But again, road noise, flying in here, a jet engine landing at Des Moines is in the same range. It was like 78 decibels. So it is a concern, and we can engineer around it.
That's what I wondered, is there a way to mitigate that noise?
Absolutely, absolutely. As I said, through the roof mitigates it one way.
Yeah.
But again, if you want to come through the wall, which we can, and then additionally, there's a makeup air, which can be directed to a region which is not going to put a sound pressure level against the residents.
The way this funeral director explained it to me for the unit that they had, theirs was on the wall, and it was probably about 3 or 4 feet above the ground.
Yes.
He described a 45-degree cone of noise. So if you're looking at a clock and it's 12 o'clock, it'd be 10:30 and 1:30. And once you got out of that 45-degree area, that sound diminished. And so I drove around to see if that was true, and by golly, it was true. When I parked out on the street, it was a busier street than what Kaiser Corson is on. It was not, I couldn't really differentiate it from the traffic. When I sat straight in that 45-degree cone, it was loud, yeah.
And if you, even going perpendicular to the sound source and go 100 feet back or 70 feet back.
Yeah, I went and I parked on the other street. And,
it's down now.
Yeah, and so the further away I got, the less noise there was.
Now it's 30 decibels and your road noise is 45 to 50. Okay. So it's discernible at that point. Okay. Easy science to measure and take care of.
But if it was an issue, it could be mitigated.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's in the design phase before it gets installed.
Yeah, okay. Another thing that I wondered about that, how long does the fan run? The air intake?
It runs, first, you have to purge the system of any fuel that might be in there. So there's a purge. So it's going to occur, the fan is going to run prior to the cremation. Then it runs throughout the cremation, because it's not only providing air for combustion, it's also providing draft. Mm-hmm. So no. Generally, these units, the state of Iowa, when we submitted the report that we had there, it's rated at 150 pounds per hour. So you kind of use that. Now, if you're dealing with a person of size, which we talked about, some of the variations that can occur in cremation, then suddenly that rate gets pushed down into 100 pounds per hour, 120 pounds per hour. So that's where you have to use your math. So a person of my size, almost 200 pounds, first case of the day is probably going to run 2.5 hours or so.
Okay, and that includes the pre-time?
Yep, the purge, the cremation, and part of the cool down.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, does it run for a cool down then?
And now, obviously in winter, it's a bit less on the cool down side.
Yeah.
but it can be a bit more on the preheat side. So you have to get the afterburner to the temperature that Iowa dictates to us. And each state's slightly different, but it's about 1,600 Fahrenheit.
So requirements for operation, you have to have a certification to do it, is what I understand. You said you teach
We
classes.
send 2 guys. They're gonna drive on Monday, install the equipment, connect the utilities on Tuesday. Wednesday, they're going to be performing their commissioning. Thursday, they're gonna be teaching the Kaiser course on how to operate the piece of equipment.
So the staff has to be certified in order to operate it?
Yes, and there's additional training that NFDA provides. I'm actually the instructor for Cremation Association of North America. ICCFA has a version. It's very important.
So what's the operation process? What type of protection does the operator need to provide for themselves and, for the facility?
Excellent question. As the cremation, it's a heat-related item. So now we just cremated Tom. So now we've got 8 or 9 pounds of calcined bone that are in there.
But am I having to wear a ventilator if I'm the operator? Am I having to wear any kind of protective gear?
As I'm bringing these calcined bones out, I probably have Kevlar gloves on, and I've got a long brush, and I'm pulling large bones, pelvis, leg bones, and they're coming and they get collected in a bin. Now, at that point, there probably should be a face mask, but there's not a lot of particulate. And again, the draft that we're talking about is going away from the cremationist. But then the next part of this, and obviously we're talking cremation here, those bones are cooled down and then they're put in a processing unit. They're pulverized. Yeah. Now there is where we're removing respirable dust particles away, but that cremationists should absolutely have some sort of respirator on. It is a nuisance dust, but it's real.
Okay. Of the units that I witnessed in operation, some of them were louder than others.
Yes.
And one in particular, their air intake was at the front of the building, close to the entrance, and I heard almost nothing. I drove right underneath their canopy, and I'm surprised they didn't come out and ask me what I was doing.
They normally do.
Yeah, I know, because I had more than one come out and ask me what I was doing. And so I was surprised, because that one had virtually no noise. There was almost no smell to that one either. It had a very tall chimney. Some of the other ones, the smell was more obvious. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to describe the smell. Yeah, how would you describe?
Well, first of all,
are there different levels?
Yeah.
Okay, you know where I'm going
Mr.
with
Fuller was actually talking about that. The original units were called inline, where the case is on a hearth, a refractory hearth, and there's combustion, and then in a line, it goes into the afterburner. Now, the afterburner is where we have to have residence time. So there are units.
We have to have what?
Residence time.
Okay.
We have to have
So it
more
has to
than
stay
1
there.
second of the gases in the afterburner to consume any residual hydrocarbon, because residual hydrocarbon is a smell. Now, the units, no one is making those anymore. There still are a lot of them that are being operated in the state of Iowa, in the United States of America. It's a large expense to be putting a crematory in. The new machines, we call them hot hearth instead of a cold hearth or an inline, and I'll try to keep it moving. But then we have an afterburner which is turned. It's called a retort, because it's a retort to a question or something. But that way it gives us plenty of time to mix with the heat and the resonance time. Minimum is always 1 second. They can be more. But that is where that gets cleaned up. People always reference Burger King. Well, Burger King is flame broiled, so we're releasing the fat and the odor and there's no afterburner at a Burger King. So from a marketing standpoint, they want you to smell that. So, normally that gets brought up. I hope I answered your question.
So why would there be a variance in the?
The equipment, absolutely the equipment. Yeah, the inlines, it's called it's called the CMS, you shouldn't mention the manufacturer's name. They don't make them anymore because of what you're describing.
Is there any way to further mitigate that?
As Mr. Fuller described, we have opacity sensors on the stack. So the minute that they see opacity or smoke, then additional air, no, it's not really a shutdown, additional air is injected into the system to slow and increase the residence time and then also have better combustion. Burn up the hydrocarbons.
Okay.
So, following up on this, I've got a question. I think based on what I heard about decibels, we've got a potential for a lot of misunderstanding of that. We've heard about jet engines, we've heard about car traffic, we've heard about dishwashers and so on.
Commercial air conditioners, the one I usually use.
Okay, so I think what I'd be interested in hearing with your particular unit, what can they expect from a noise perspective?
Yes.
Okay, what's the goal? What are you thinking of?
Yep.
And what about smell?
Smell is what we just described. We have
Okay,
this resident-
would you expect there will be some odor?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
How about the noise?
65 decibels at that point. We're also, it's interesting, we bring all the combustion air in from the outside in a duct. And again, can go through the roof, can go through the wall. You position it such that it's the least noise source in the neighborhood. But the unit, our units, you can have a conversation when you're standing next to the piece of equipment. As you said.
Inside or outside?
Inside. It's very rare in the industry that can happen. So it's one of the quieter ones. If you're not pulling it in, now you have to have 16 square feet of makeup air. We're going to do that with just 24 inch by 24 inch. So again, that's noise that can go out. We made it small. I think the one you're talking about that's loud is probably
It was a larger.
large. It has to be 16 square feet. You can't starve the room. The people are in there. You're using.
And this particular, I did talk to the director at that facility, and they did comment that it was loud in the building.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Therefore, I had a concern,
right.
But if it's 65 decibels at the entrance.
Yes.
50 feet away, it's going to be 30 to 40 or less.
Exactly. Less than road noise.
Very frankly, what's an air handler at the top of the roof going to cost you? It's going to be at that level. Yes. So.
Anything else?
Actually, yeah, before you go.
Yes.
So you talked a lot about the Iowa standards.
Yes.
These crematoriums, how many states do you sell these to operate in?
The majority are upper Midwest, but we have them in Pennsylvania, Oregon, Washington.
And how do those states' standards
They're
compare to
much
Iowa
stricter,
standards?
Much stricter.
Much stricter, and this passes all those standards as well?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we normally have to be looking at, when we had that TRC report up, everything, carbon monoxide, NOx, SO2, all those other items have to be where they belong.
The other thing I wasn't completely clear on was when the unit is actually inspected?
Yes.
Okay, what?
That's annually by law.
It is annually,
Yes.
even though the state of Iowa
It stops to be.
does not require that?
It's a national standard, NFPA, National Fire, right.
Okay.
So
It's a
that
national
overrides
standard.
state.
It's for the country.
I should have asked for a
Right.
second.
We install, the guys have to go, so we do a follow-up.
Well,
When the guys go, you do Iowa, you do make the milk run, hit everybody.
Thank you, you answered my questions, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Anybody else have any questions?
Sorry.
The only reason I have to have, there has to be a second, so I'm gonna call the question again.
Yep.
And I'll second that.
All right. So that means we take an immediate vote on our.
Well, you take an immediate vote at the end of 8, and then you take an immediate
Yep,
vote
correct.
on the question.
On the previous question, which is our
Yeah.
current motion.
You can also just end debate if there's no one opposed to it.
Yeah. All right. So, reading that freshly. Any opposition to ending debate on this topic and moving forward with our vote? Seeing none, I would ask for a roll call vote.
Okay, let's start this one. Kathy?
Yes.
Pete?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
David? Larson?
Yes.
Kate Payne?
Yes.
John Meyer?
Yes.
Dave Huser?
Yes. All right. That motion passes to Board of Adjustment for their decision. Moves us to item F in our agenda, staff updates page.
I have none.
Okay. Item G, commission updates. Any of my fellow commissioners have any items?
For all the research they did independently to prepare for this topic.
All right, thank you. Any others? All right. We're on item H. I would ask that.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.